Greetings YouTube! Today we're looking at an Eafengrow knife. This is the EF223 and I got this in a kind of a putty or a khaki color. I don't know what you want to call that. First thing you're going to notice is that it's got some really nice G10 scales, which are nicely sculpted. They're contoured this way. Nice cutouts for the finger. Everything is nicely rounded. I really like the way they did this. It feels very good, and you'll notice that the cutouts are ample on both sides, so you can easily access the thumb stud if you want to, but you really don't need to because this is a flipper. It is unfortunately a single position pocket clip, but it's tip up, which is my preference, and it's right side carry, which is unfortunate for the southpaws out in the world. And I got this knife partly because I like the color, but also because it's a modified sheepfoot, and I really love sheepfoot designs. Wharncliffes as well, but I just really dig that. Though I think that I prefer the Wharncliffe probably because they tend to have a better point on them, so you can actually do some piercing. It's hard to do piercing with a sheep's foot, but that's kind of the point of a sheep's foot. It's not designed for piercing, and it's safer to have around for certain kinds of operations for that reason. And it's a modified because it is not a perfect straight. It has a very shallow belly here, and this is a full flat grind with a secondary bevel. It has a nice swedge up here. Has some jimping on this, which is kind of a chunky jimping, which I find very comfortable. And the jimping here on the blade is nicely rounded, as it is on the liners. Though right here, the transition between the liner and the scale, there's a little bit of crispness to it. It doesn't bother me in the least, but the scale is a little bit crisper than it is here on the liners and on the blade itself, which is nicely rounded. And it nice placement for your thumb if you're going to be making that kind of a motion. I really find this quite comfortable because of it is a flipper. This becomes a guard here, so it's a very secure grip. You're not going to have to worry about your hand indexing forward in a very dangerous way. Not to mention with these cutouts here, it really locks it in. My fingers fit in very well on this knife. It's a very secure grip. And I also find the overall thickness of this very comfortable. You'll notice that it's got sculpted pins in here, something you don't necessarily see in a lot of knives. Sometimes they're just straight cylinders. I like that touch. I think it's nice. The liners are not sculpted. They're solid. Rather not cutouts. So there's no weight reduction in there, but they're fairly thin, so you're not gonna be. It's not overly heavy to begin with. The pivots here are nicely rounded. They're a single star drive. I did not have to play with this at all. Came out of the box well worn in, and with a blade that is in the middle, which is a nice touch. I like the fact that everything is nice and secure in here. Sometimes I've noticed that the blade can come a little bit too far for my taste towards the end, and this one stops amply before it gets to the end, which I find a nice feature. And this has got no ball bearing. This is just bronze pivots. Washers in there, but it still pops out nicely. It works a little bit better when I'm not holding it in this somewhat awkward position because, again, I'm showing you a knife against the table. And because it is flipper, I like that. You notice how when the blade closes, I like that because it stops on your thumbnail, and then I can move my finger, and then I can easily close that, and it's not going to close on my thumb. I know that there are some people that don't like liner locks because that your finger is in the path of the blade, but the nice thing about a flipper is that has that feature right there, and then you can just easily close that like this. It's a very basic knife, but it's a nice design. It's very comfortable. The finish is beautiful. It has ever so slight texture to it. It's not silky smooth, and I like that very slight texture. It makes it feel secure in the grip. and that is just the tool marks, but it's nothing to there's no abrasion here. It's just very, very slight texture, and I really appreciate that. It feels good against the skin and gives you a little bit of grip against your palm. And if I'm wearing gloves at work, that helps me handle the knife more securely than if I'm a knife, for example, that has a smooth metal scale, which can become kind of slippery in my hand. There's a couple of Milwaukee blades I've tried, and a couple of Coast knives I've tried over the years that were just too slick. The metal scales were way too smooth for me to use. This affords me a good grip when it comes to wearing a pair of gloves at work, which I wear at work all the time, and I like to carry my knives for a couple of weeks before I do a review for you folks. But yeah, this is the EF223 from Eafengrow. I really like this little knife. If you're a sheep's foot fan and you like something that isn't tactical black, so this is a nice option. I think it might be available in black and orange. I'm not 100% sure on this one. I got this one just because I don't have a lot of knives with this color, and I like this. And interestingly, it matches a number of my khaki cargo pants, which made me smile. Like, I'm color coordinating my knife to my pants. Isn't that cool? But yeah, a nice little deal. I think I paid like 25 bucks for this. I can't remember off the top of my head. I bought it a while back, and I often buy knives and like get 2 or 3 at the same time, so I don't always remember exactly what I paid for each one. But yeah, nice little knife, solid design, good quality, nice fit finish. Comes out of the box with a very usable edge, and again, it's got that lovely flat grind, which I love oh so much. So yes, the Eafengrow 223, I consider it to be highly recommended.